The departure of UCF, Cincinnati, and Houston has made the American Athletic Conference a lot more interesting heading into 2023. And while many will be quick to say that Tulane will just win the American outright once again, do not be surprised to see one of the 6 newcomers challenge for a title in their first year in the conference. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys. We're so glad that you could join us today as we give you our American Athletic Conference predictions heading into this upcoming college football season. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and check out everything down in the description below, including our expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com. If you want the best college football and NFL spread picks in the country, this is the place for you. Why are they the best? Because we can guarantee you a winning record. We can guarantee you a winning season, winning profits right in your pocket. We can guarantee you the best customer service that any handicapper is going to give you in the entire country. And we can do that because we beat out over 80% of the national handicappers each of the last 5 years. So one of the lowest prices in the country for the best picks in the country. Go sign up today, guys. The season starts in less than 2 weeks. Take advantage of that offer while it still stands. Check out our Patreon account as well for exclusive college football content year-round. And send us some gear to the mailing address down in the description below. We've already got some great Tulane gear courtesy of our man Charles Lehigh. But we'd love some more American gear, right? We've got 6 newcomers in here, some guys that stuck around. We'd love to expand and get more teams in our background for every single video. So whether it's your team, an American team, whoever it may be, send us some gear to the mailing address down in the description below to be featured in every single video. So let's go ahead and dive into the American Conference, guys. Let's pull up that graphic, and it's going to be interesting, right? Obviously, no divisions, 14 teams, but no divisions, and it's going to be a competitive conference, guys. Yes, you lose some of the top dogs in Cincinnati, UCF, and Houston all going to the Big 12, but in doing so, you bring in some guys that can compete right away, such as UTSA, who we have actually at the top of our conference standings. That does not mean they are winning the conference necessarily. UTSA and Tulane, we do have meeting in the championship game, but the Roadrunners are going to come in from the Conference USA, and we believe immediately finish on top. This is a loaded team, guys. Jeff Traylor's done a phenomenal job with this program. Back-to-back Conference USA titles, a double-digit win season last year. They have one of the better quarterbacks in all of the Group of 5 and Frank Harris. They've got Kavorian Barnes coming in, returning at running back. 4 of their top 5 pass catchers return. 5 of their top 8 tacklers return. The defensive line is absolutely loaded. One of the best, if not the best, in the conference. And this is a team, guys, that, again, went 11-3 last year. That bowl win still eludes them. Still cannot get a bowl victory, but is as competitive as any team you're going to see in the Group of 5. 16 returning starters, very favorable schedule. Yes, they have to travel to Houston, to Tennessee, and to Tulane in that season finale. But overall, guys, this is a team that talent-wise is one of the best teams in the American Conference, despite being a newcomer to the conference. Tulane, we have right behind them in at 9-3, just like UTSA, but 6-2. So therefore not getting first place in the conference, but still good enough for the Green Wave to get to the championship game. And I'm telling you, if you're wanting that bragging right of, hey, I want to say I'm finishing first in the conference, finishing number 1, which ultimately could lead to home field advantage in the championship game, it could come down to that season finale when UTSA travels to Tulane. UTSA travels to Tulane in the season finale. There's a very good chance you could see the Roadrunners and the Green Wave face off against each other in back-to-back weeks. But Tulane, guys, what a story. Last year going 12-2, winning the Cotton Bowl. They were the highest-ranked Group of 5 champion and then upset USC in that bowl game. Michael Pratt returns at quarterback, one of the more experienced quarterbacks in all the Group of 5. So having a veteran there is huge for Tulane, but they do lose their running back. They do lose their top 2 receivers from last year. The offense bound to take a little bit of a step back, but Pratt at the helm keeps them in every single game. The defense, though, going to be phenomenal. 8 starters back on defense after allowing just 22 points per game last year. The offensive line is extremely loaded, so while they do lose some players at the skill positions, Pratt's going to have a lot of protection, a lot of time, which is huge, especially going up against a strong team such as UTSA with their loaded defensive line. I will say this. If you are a Tulane fan, you're going to have a great measuring stick of what this team is like. Their first 2 weeks, they get to host South Alabama, one of the better teams in the Sun Belt, an electric offense, and they get to host Ole Miss. I think it's very, very important that Tulane finds a way to at least split those 2 games. Go at least 1-1, if not 2-0. 0-2, not saying it's the end of the world. Neither of those are conference games, but the quest to maybe getting to a New Year's Six bowl game again could be out of the question. So you're going to get a great idea of what this Tulane team is like after the first 2 weeks when they play the Jaguars and the Rebels. But regardless, we do believe Tulane makes a return trip to the American Championship game and will play UTSA. We'll predict that game here shortly. Below them, Memphis, SMU, both in at 6-2. So you'll notice, Tulane, Memphis, SMU all tied at 6-2 in conference play, which means we do believe that the Tigers and the Mustangs are legitimate contenders to contend for a American title, to play UTSA in that championship game. You look at the Tigers, who we have owning the tiebreaker over the Mustangs. Yes, they went just 7-6 last year, but they returned their veteran quarterback in Seth Hennigan. Blake Watson, this guy that's not being talked about nearly enough, rushed for over 2,000 yards during his time at Old Dominion. He now transfers in to the Tigers program. So you've got a great veteran quarterback, a solid, very solid transfer running back in Blake Watson, a loaded offensive line, and 6 starters back on defense that really wasn't all that bad, allowing just 363 yards per game last year, which is pretty solid for Memphis. There's a very good chance the Tigers could start 3-0, which would be phenomenal. They get to host Tulane, they get to host SMU, they get to host Boise State. Some of the biggest games of the year are at home for Memphis, but they have been dominant. Really going back to the Justin Fuente, Mike Norvell days. Ryan Silverfield continuing to do the same thing with them. Watch out for Memphis, guys. They were an upset win away from maybe taking over that 2 spot and playing for an American championship. Same can be said for SMU. Obviously, we have Memphis defeating the Mustangs at the Liberty Bowl, but year 2 under Rhett Lashley is a phenomenal offensive mind. He's going to do a major step forward after a somewhat lackluster season last year. I think people expected more from SMU. But the beauty of this, guys, the Mustangs are entering the Stone Age. Yes, I'm going to play a pun there. The Stone Age. Why? Because Preston Stone will be the quarterback for SMU this year, and he has a lot of upside. We've seen some flash of brilliance from him early on in his career. Now as a full-time starter, going to be even better. 2 of their 3 top wide receivers are back. Yes, SMU does lose their top 4 tacklers, but they still return 8 starters on the defensive side of the ball. While they do play Oklahoma and TCU on the road in the non-conference, the conference slate is very, very favorable because they do avoid Tulane and UTSA. They avoid the top 2 teams in the conference. Watch out for SMU, guys. Again, they are 1 or 2 upset wins away, or someone else suffering an upset loss from maybe slipping into the American Championship game. They will be better than they were in year 1 under Rhett Lashley. Florida Atlantic is another newcomer to the conference, and some are going to say, how in the world do you have the Owls at 7-5, 5-3? Well, here's how. First off, schedule. The schedule is great for the Owls. Non-conference isn't that bad. The conference slate, they get to host UTSA, they get to host Tulane. So yes, they draw both, but they get to host them. Secondly, Tom Herman is their coach now. Herman was phenomenal during his time at Houston in the group of 5, and honestly wasn't all that bad at Texas. Did he live up to the expectations? No. Should have been better, but wasn't all that bad. Tom Herman era begins now for Florida Atlantic and really his quest to maybe return to the Power 5. 18 starters are back. They land the transfer quarterback and Casey Thompson coming in from Nebraska. Thompson reuniting with his old coach and Tom Herman. Larry McCammon comes in at running back after rushing for over 1,000 yards last year. 6 of their top 8 tacklers return on defense. So this is a Florida Atlantic team, guys, that has got a coach that's proven, has a solid quarterback that has Power 5 experience, has a 1,000-yard rusher, and has a defense that's extremely underrated. So Florida Atlantic coming in from the Conference USA as well, going to make an immediate impact in the American and make a bowl game in their first year. Navy, 7-5, 5-3. They come in the top half of the American after a disappointing 4-8 season last year. Some would say, how do you have them improving by 3 games? Here's why. 17 starters are back for Navy. That's really unheard of for a military academy. Your Army, your Air Force, your Navy's. Very rarely do they return that many starters, but Navy does. 17 are back. Brian Newberry is the new head coach for the midshipmen, but he's no ordinary new head coach. He's been with the midshipmen for years. He's been the defensive coordinator for them the last 4 seasons. And last year, Navy allowed just 24.3 points per game. Additionally, Navy went 4-8 last year. They were way better than that. They had 5 one-possession losses. Easily could have been a 9-win team, and no one would be talking about Navy disappointing in 2023. The midshipmen are the real deal, guys. They're going to have a major bounce-back year. Newberry knows the team. He knows the program. That was a fantastic hire to promote from within, and I do believe Navy gets a solid winning season back into the win column, 7-5, and a solid bowl game this year as well. Then the American kind of takes a turn for the worse, right? I mean, I would say those are your top 6 teams. We have 7 teams total, but those are your top 6 teams. And you kind of draw a fine line. ECU and Rice do not go bowling this year. Both went bowling last year. Rice getting in due to their APR, but still, they were in the postseason. ECU in at 5-7. I love Mike Houston. I love what he's done. My man Destry Sparks, don't kill me, my man. I want your Pirates to go bowling. I truly, truly do. 5-7, 4-4 in conference play. It's the non-conference that's tough, right? They have a very brutal non-conference slate early on. That could end up being the difference maker because winning 4 conference games just comes to show you that you only need 2 more wins to go bowling, and we don't think they can get there. This is a team that went 8-5 last year, but now only returned 16% of their offensive yards from 2022. They lose Holton Ahlers. They lose Keaton Mitchell. They lose their top 3 pass catchers. They do return 6 starters on defense. The defense only allowed 112 rushing yards per game. The defense is going to be the strength of the team, no doubt about it. If they can find some quick success offensively, they might be able to pull off one upset, maybe in the non-conference, to get to that 6th win and get back to a bowl game. But I think, unfortunately, they fall just short. Next year, though, they break through and go back to a bowl game. Rice, right below them, 5-7, 4-4. They went 5-8 last year. Again, went to a bowl game at 5-7 due to the APR and then lost to Southern Miss. Many would be quick to say that Rice goes bowling just because of the addition of JT Daniels at quarterback, and that's a huge addition. You know, that's a huge boost for this Owls program as they try to get to a bowl game legitimately. 4 of their top 5 tacklers are back, their top 2 pass catchers are back, and you've got a proven quarterback that has just bounced around from school to school, from USC to Georgia to West Virginia, now to Rice. But you look at Rice's schedule. Texas, Houston, in back-to-back weeks. They play Tulane, SMU, and UTSA in 3 consecutive weeks. It's a brutal, brutal schedule right there. Rice isn't going to be favored in any of those games. Very well could lose all 5. Then you only have 1 room for error. The room for error is very, very small. Can only afford to lose 1 more game down the stretch, and we believe Rice loses at least 2 more. Schedule just too difficult for the Owls, and JT Daniels not going to be enough to save the day. North Texas in at 6-6, also coming in from the Conference USA. We believe that the Mean Green go bowling, but don't even have a winning record in conference play. So kind of weird to see ECU and Rice above them in conference play or in the standings, yet North Texas gets to clinch bowl eligibility. New coach in Eric Morris, a brilliant offensive mind. Chandler Rogers transferring in at quarterback from ULM. This is a solid North Texas team, guys, that is going to be very, very good offensively. Very, very tough to stop, and defensively not nearly as tough as people, or as bad as people think. So the Mean Green aren't going to be an American contender immediately, but they've been a solid Conference USA contender the last few years. We're in the Conference USA Championship last year before falling to UTSA, and to me, no doubt, a bowl team in year 1 under Eric Morris. After that, everybody else falls short of the postseason. Temple comes in at 5-7. They went 3-9 last year. They have 16 starters back. So this is a Temple team, guys, that will be more competitive, will rack up more wins. E.J. Werner was solid at quarterback last year. 5 of their top 6 tacklers returned. They had 4 one-possession losses. The Owls actually played really good football down the stretch, just couldn't get over the hump because of their youth. This year they win a few more games, but just fall just short of a bowl game. To me, Temple very similar to Rice in this sense. UAB, another team transferring in from the Conference USA. New coach in Trent Dilfer. Interesting hire by the Blazers to bring in Trent Dilfer as their new head coach. But this is a team, guys, that is going to go through a major rebuild. They have had 6 straight winning seasons. That streak comes to an end because they are number 129. 31 teams in college football, 129 when it comes to returning experience. A lot of questions on both sides of the ball. Only 7 starters back total. Jacob Zeno coming in at quarterback now. Was up with the program last year, but had very limited playing time. Now the full-time starter. They lose 5 of their top 6 tacklers. UAB, guys, going to be in for a rough go-around, which will be a bit of a culture shock for Blazer fans, considering the success they've had since they reinstated their football program back in 2017. Tulsa in at 3-9, another new coach in Kevin Wilson, the former offensive coordinator of Ohio State the last 6 years, also the former Indiana coach from 2011 to 2016. But the Golden Hurricane going through a major rebuild because they lose a lot of talent. They lose their quarterback in Davis Brin, transferring in to Georgia Southern. They lose their top 2 running backs. They lose their top 2 wide receivers. They lose 6 of their top 8 tacklers. So on both sides of the ball, Tulsa loses so much. Wilson's an experienced coach, and he's a great offensive mind. I think he's going to get more out of this team than people think. But Tulsa falling way short of a bowl game this year, no doubt about it. And the same can be said for USF and Charlotte, both dealing with new coaches as well. USF, new coach Alex Galesh coming in as the offensive coordinator from Tennessee. Great offensive mind, but only 4 starters back on offense. They're going to need Gary Bohannon to have a very healthy season, something that he did not have last year. They do have 9 starters on defense, but the Bulls, this is not your typical rebuild. This is a rebuild that could take a long, long time. Their defense last year allowed 41.2 points per game. 517 yards per game was one of, if not the worst defense in the country. It's going to take a long time for the Bulls to kind of get some resurgence and rebuild under Galesh. And in Charlotte, I love Biff Poggi. I love what he did at AAC Media Days. He was highly disrespected up there at the podium. So Charlotte's a team that I'm rooting for. I'm rooting for the 49ers. I want them to do well. I want them to exceed expectations, but I just don't think it's going to happen. Year one, under a new head coach, only 4 starters back on offense. They lose their career passing leader and Chris Reynolds. They lose their top 4 pass catchers. They only have 6 starters coming back on defense, one that allowed nearly 40 points per game. Yes, we know the 49ers are bringing in tons of transfers, and that could translate to more success than we think. I think Charlotte's very competitive because Poggi's a guy that I certainly would want to play for, but Charlotte going to go through, again, a bit of a rough stretch, 2-10, but they do snag a conference win. That's going to be the silver lining in 2023. So with all that being said, guys, our American Championship game is UTSA versus Tulane, or I should say really Tulane at UTSA, and it's really perfect, right? I wish there were going to be 3 games being played. The first game is UTSA at Tulane. Season finale, Tulane gets home field advantage. American Championship, UTSA gets home field advantage. I'd love to see a rubber match because I do believe UTSA wins the American Conference in their first season in the league. They're going to have home field advantage. It's very, very difficult to beat a team twice in one year, let alone twice consecutively in back-to-back weeks. And I think Tulane gets the better of UTSA in the season finale, but UTSA makes those adjustments, and the Roadrunners win their 3rd straight conference title, 2 straight Conference USA titles. They win the American in their first season, clinch another double-digit win season. Tulane's magical run somewhat comes to an end, but still a 9-4 season, back-to-back championship appearances, nothing to frown about. But regardless, the Roadrunners, led by Jeff Traylor, will win the American in their first year, finish the year at 10-3, and now it'll just be a matter to see if they can finally get a bowl win, something that has eluded them for the last couple of years. So there you have it, guys, the American Conference standings heading into 2023. Leave your predictions down in the comments below, as we, again, are less than 2 weeks away from the start of the college football season. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and check out everything down in the description below, including our expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com, our Patreon account for exclusive college football content year-round, and send us some gear. We'd love to get some more American gear. We've got some Tulane gear. We'd love to get some more, so whoever your team may be, send it to that mailing address down in the description below to be represented in every single Gridiron Expert video. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.